in big Democratic cities, it is the primary election, not the general election, that usually determines who will be the next mayor. And in cities like Hartford and Bridgeport, the races are bound to be good ones. When Hartford Mayor Eddie Perez kicked off his re-election campaign, he sold himself as a strong mayor. But with the ever-growing field of candidates from his own party looking to take his job, some political analysts believe the strong mayor is getting weak.
You would be smart to worry.
It's Eddie's race to lose, but it's not in the bag.
Hartford Current columnist Bill Curry, a Democrat, and Kevin Rennie, a Republican, both think Perez is facing some serious competition for the first time in a long time.
Art Feltman has a formidable grasp of policy. Minnie Gonzalez has a real populist base in her district.
I would say the most serious contender is
Charles Matthews.
Meanwhile, in Bridgeport, the Democratic primary there is bound to be a headliner as well, with the current mayor, John Fabrizi, out of the race. State Representative Christopher Caruso, who has made it his mission at the state capitol to battle corruption in politics, will have to battle it out with another Democratic state lawmaker, Senator Bill Finch, in the race to become Bridgeport's next mayor. And here for a closer look are, once again, WTSC radio talk show host, Mr. Colin McEnroe, Spaz, and the esteemed Secretary of the State, Ms. Susan Beiswitz. Susan, please do not stoop to that level, and I'm not going to either. All right, real quickly, though, we're here talking about primaries because you have some information you want to pass along. Primaries kind of set a new standard last year with Lieberman and Lamont race, and this year there's bound to be some good ones. So folks need to know, you want to vote in the primaries, what are they going to know?
They got to register with the party that's holding the primaries, and we have 25 towns that potentially could have Democratic or Republican primaries. And whenever you have a lot of candidates, that's when you get the best turnout. Interestingly, in the last United States Senate primary that we had, that was the highest primary turnout ever in our state, with a 43% turnout. And now we've got some lively primaries going on in Hartford and Bridgeport with lots of candidates. That should guarantee some good turnouts.
I have a question. Do provisional ballot rules apply basically in municipal primaries like this one? Can you get a provisional ballot if you're turned down?
You can get a challenge ballot.
Challenge ballot? Okay.
The federal law provides for provisional.
That's what I was wondering.
And that comes up in February and the presidential
So let's talk a little. People have until when to either register with the party or change their party affiliation. What are the stipulations there?
If you're an unaffiliated voter, you have until noon the day before the primary. The primaries, interestingly, are going to be on September 11th. So you need to make that change. We may be beyond the deadline to change your party affiliation for...
Well, this is at least for beyond the deadline to change your party affiliation. Let's take a look at the screen here and say September 6th, mail-in voter registration deadline. Go ahead.
There you go. That's right. September 10th, noon the day before. Of course, primary day is September 11th.
And then we have the general election in November.
That's right.
Colin, you've been following any of these races? Anyone in particular that catches your fancy?
Well, absolutely. And first of all, because it's Bridgeport and Hartford, we can guarantee you there'll be no funny business at the polls. I mean, shouldn't be any problem.
We are making sure that the new voting machines are going to work really well. They're going to have integrity. They're going to be secure.
But, hey, you know what? If you get turned down, ask for that challenge ballot. Can anybody get a challenge ballot? Can you absolutely get one no matter what you're being turned down for?
Yeah. If you believe you are properly registered and on the rolls, but for some reason they don't have your name, you need to let the moderator or a poll worker know, and you can fill out a challenge ballot.
And again, this is the first time statewide using these new voting machines.
That's right. All towns across the state will now be using the new voting machines, and all the towns that are holding primaries will have the new voting machines. So there'll be a paper trail.
A paper trail? It's like filling in SAT tests?
That's right. Black
lottery
and
ticket.
ovals.
And here in Hartford, just to answer your question, I mean, I do think that Eddie has a tremendous advantage right now just because there's so many candidates. If he had to run against Charles Feltman, he'd be in a lot of trouble. But there's the spread of challengers obviously is going to favor an incumbent.
Well, your friend Bill Curry had actually said.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. What did he say? I wasn't even listening.
No. Bill Curry said, essentially, and this makes sense, that the more candidates there are, they get lost.
Yeah.
They get lost.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the race for the presidential race right now. There's so many candidates, it's hard to say who's in it.
I think Feltman is not ferocious enough to take out Eddie, and Matthews maybe doesn't have this kind of not intellectual, but political background that Art has in the legislature. If you combine the two of them, you'd have a super candidate who Eddie would fear.
What about Bridgeport? Who gets it? Caruso?
I think that's kind of a toss-up. You know, it depends on how disenchanted Bridgeport is with machine politics. Probably pretty disenchanted, but then machine politics, they call it that because it works.
The other interesting thing about the primaries is this. A lot of the people who are running in primaries are saying they may try to petition onto the ballot in November, a la Joe Lieberman, if it doesn't work out for them in the primary. So that's very interesting, and that could lead to some
That is interesting, because it used to be the primary, as far as the party was concerned, was the end of the road. Joe Lieberman broke the rules there. It's going to make your job more difficult.
It appears that other people may be following in his footsteps.
How are you a writing candidate with the new technology?
Well, what's happening is a lot of people are starting to make sure they get their petitions in to be on the primary ballot August 8th, but they're also getting petition signatures so they can be on the ballot in November.
All right. Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Colin, can you please stop calling my show? What do you call it on the radio or something?
Please contempt.
It does kind of have a ring.
Yeah.
All right. Beyond the headlines. Thank you. Thank you so much. And we'll have you on closer to the primaries as well, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
it.
Get your challenge ballots. It's hard for